For today's video, we will answer a math challenge given by one of our followers. And the question goes like this. Solve for the real value of x that satisfies this equation 3 raised to the power of x squared minus 1 equals x raised to the power of x squared minus 1. Now you can pause this video if you want to give this problem a try. And now, let's answer this question together. So, our goal here is to solve for the real value of x that satisfies this equation 3 raised to the power of x squared minus 1 equals x raised to the power of x squared minus 1. Now, an obvious solution is, of course, x equals 3 because if we replace all x with 3, so the exponent becomes 3 squared minus 1. On the other side, we have 3, the base, raised to the power of 3 squared minus 1, and the left-hand side and the right-hand side are the same. Therefore, an obvious solution is x equals 3. Of course, this is not the only solution to this equation. So let's find out what are those solutions. So to do that, let's divide both sides by x raised to the power of x squared minus 1. Now the question is why we do that. Because the right-hand side of our equation becomes 1. Now, on the left-hand side of our equation, we will use some loss of exponent. Now, take note, if we have a raised to the power of c over b raised to the power of c, we have the same exponent but different bases. This can be written as a over b raised to the power, the common power, c. Therefore, on the left-hand side of our equation, take note that we have the same exponent of x squared minus 1. Thus, this can be written as 3 over x raised to the power of x squared minus 1. Alright, now since it is equal to 1, so what we're going to do is to use again some loss of exponent. Now take note, when we have b raised to the power of 0, it must be equal to 1 provided that b is not equal to 0. Now we will apply this law of exponent to our given equation. So what we're going to do is to equate this exponent x squared minus 1 to 0. Alright, so if we do that, we get something like x squared minus 1 equals 0. Now, let's solve for the value of x. So let's add 1 on both sides, then get the square root on both sides, and take note that we have two possible values here. We have positive or negative. And on the left-hand side, square root of x squared is just x. And on the right-hand side, we have positive or negative 1. So we found two possible values of x that makes the exponent equals 0. So let's try. If x equals 1 and if x equals negative 1 satisfies this equation. Now let's start with x equals positive 1. So let all x be equal to 1. So we have 3 over 1 raised to the power of 1 squared minus 1. Now 3 over 1 is simply equal to 3. Now, 1 squared minus 1, this is just 1 minus 1 or simply equal to 0. Now, we know 3 raised to the power of 0, 3 is not equal to 0, so 3 raised to the power of 0 equals 1. Therefore, we can say that x equals 1 is also a solution to our equation. Now, how about x equals negative 1? So, let's do that. Let's replace all x with negative 1. Now, 3 over negative 1, this is just negative 3. Now, negative 1 squared, this is just 1 again. Minus 1, this will give us 0. So, negative 3 raised to the power of 0. And negative 3 raised to the power of 0, according to this identity, we have equal to 1. So, x equals negative 1 is also part of our solution. Therefore, we can say that the values of x must be x equals 3, or x equals positive or negative 1. So we have now 3. But wait a second, what if the base is equal to negative 1, or this base equals negative 1? And to make this equal to negative 1, this x right here must be equal to negative 3. Because 3 over negative 3 will give us negative 1. And now we can now use this concept of loss of exponent. If we have negative 1 raised to an even exponent, this becomes positive 1. So let's try. What if x equals negative 3? So let's try. So let's replace all x with negative 3. Now here we go. 3 over negative 3, this becomes negative 1. So our base now becomes negative 1. Now our exponent, negative 3 raised to the power of 2, this will give us 9. So we have 9 minus 1. And 9 minus 1 definitely equal to 8. And 8 is an even number. Therefore, negative 1 raised to the power of 8 must be also equal to 1. Therefore, x equals negative 3 is also part of our solution. Therefore, we have 4 possible values of x here. We have positive or negative 1, or positive or negative 3. Therefore, our final answer, what are the values of x that satisfies this equation? And our answer is x equals positive or negative 1, or x equals positive or negative 3. And as always, we are done.